Paul was a weak old man.
God willing, if you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Welcome to the show. You are one-on-one with Wes the Sports Guy here on YouTube, BitChute, and Rumble, and online all the time at westhesportsguy.com. Bookmark that site if you want to get the MLB previews, which will be coming around the corner before you know it. Pitchers and catchers are reporting in spring training in Arizona and Florida, respectively. Preview will be up at westhesportsguy.com. You can also get off-season recaps of the NFL. We're just about ready to get going with the quarterback carousel heating up there. Bookmark westhesportsguy.com to get all the social media links as well. With Parler coming back, I still have the link there at westhesportsguy.com right at the top of the page. Getting into it with the first of, let's just say, not really breaking news because it did happen a few days ago, but going into spring training, one of the young and up-and-coming superstars in Major League Baseball, Fernando Tatis Jr., he inked a 14-year, $340 million extension with the San Diego Padres, which basically just capitalizes on their amazing offseason in which they brought in two stalwart pitchers in Blake Snell of the Tampa Bay Rays, Yu Darvish of the Chicago Cubs, to shore up their rotation. The bullpen is as solid as it's going to be, as most of the time the Padres in history have had a pretty good bullpen, to say the least. And then when you look at how the lineup is stacked up, that Padre lineup is going to be good for the foreseeable future. And now you sign Tatis to this kind of an extension that keeps him well into his 30s. He'll be about 36 years old by the time this contract is over. There's no deferred money. Every bit of it is guaranteed. He's going to get up front every single year of the 14 years of this extension. This also covers arbitration, all that good stuff. So the Padres did the right thing here in giving this guy an extension now, while they have the opportunity at hand to be World Series contenders, not just contenders against the Dodgers, but in the long run, going for a World Series title, the first in their franchise's history. Getting into it, I got a couple of storylines for spring training here for the 2021 season.
Root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. So it's 1, 2, 3.
And the first storyline going into this spring training is, will Mike Trout finally get back to the postseason? Is this the year that it will and possibly should happen for Major League Baseball's sake? The best player in Major League Baseball, Mike Trout. He's only been in the postseason once, and that was against the Kansas City Royals on their quest to win a World Series. That was the year that they ultimately lost to the San Francisco Giants. They came back the next year and beat the New York Mets, but that's ancient history at this point. Mike Trout, is he going to get back to the postseason? This is the year that it could happen, mainly because of the weak points of the AL West right now. On paper, it is definitely the weakest it has been in quite some time, at least with Mike Trout being on the Angels. It is definitely one of the weaker points going into this upcoming season. Houston Astros lost a key player in George Springer. They're not going to have Justin Verlander pretty much for the entire season due to Tommy John surgery. The Oakland Athletics lost a couple key pieces, mainly their closer, Liam Hendricks, to free agency. So it's kind of up for grabs in the division. They're still wildcard contenders, in my opinion, going into spring training right now, but this is a storyline to watch. Is this going to be the Angels team that gets Mike Trout back into the postseason, or will it be another dud, unfortunately, and have to go into the offseason of what more could they do to help Mike Trout? And of course, last offseason, they got Anthony Rendon, turned out to be pretty good. I mean, Rendon is one of the premier players in Major League Baseball right now. He proved it winning a World Series for the Nationals a couple seasons ago, but I digress. Mike Trout, is he going to get back to the postseason? That's a storyline to watch going into 2021. Next storyline going into the spring training season 2021, did the punishment fit the crime? You know about the Houston Astros sign-stealing scandal and the punishment that was handed out to the likes of A.J. Hinch, who's the former manager of the Houston Astros, and Alex Cora, who was the bench coach at the time when this happened, and also became the manager of the Boston Red Sox in their own separate sign-stealing scandal. They both lost their jobs before the 2020 season, and they were thus suspended for an entire season because of the Houston Astros sign-stealing scandal. But guess what? Alex Cora got his job back after 1 year of not managing in a shortened lockdown-related season of 60 games. Alex Cora is back. So he really didn't get suspended for an entire full 162-game season, yet he's back managing for the Red Sox. AJ Hinch, kind of in the same boat. As soon as the offseason was over, or I shouldn't say offseason, when the offseason began in Major League Baseball, AJ Hinch immediately got hired by the Detroit Tigers. So I ask, did the punishment fit the crime? Did it? I honestly don't believe it did, because if the punishment were to fit the crime, you would have said to the Houston Astros as a franchise, bar them from postseason play last year. Because guess what? They were one game away from getting back to the World Series last year. Think about that for a moment. The Houston Astros were punished, and yet they almost got back to the World Series last season. Amazing to think. But again, for AJ Hinch and Alex Cora respectively, did the punishment fit the crime? My opinion, no, it did not. But that's something to watch going into the spring training of this year. Everybody's jumping on the Chicago White Sox bandwagon as to whether or not they are legit contenders, whether or not they're the hot team going into spring training. New manager, I should say, Hall of Famer Tony La Russa has returned to Chicago to manage the White Sox. This was his first managerial gig of his Hall of Fame career, and the owner of the Chicago White Sox, Jerry Reinsdorf, has said publicly on many occasions that he regretted firing Tony La Russa at the time. Well, now he gets to undo that move by bringing Tony La Russa back when he was well into retirement in Major League Baseball. Will this work in the long run? We'll see. Tony La Russa is a Hall of Fame manager for many reasons, obviously. I have my issues with Tony La Russa, mainly when it comes to steroids and with the Oakland A's and St. Louis Cardinals, mainly with one guy in particular, Mark McGwire. But that's beside the point. That's another topic for another day. But Tony La Russa is a Hall of Fame manager, regardless of what you may believe about his handling of such steroid users. But going forward, are the White Sox legit contenders? Absolutely. Look at what the Minnesota Twins are doing with their recent history now of winning the division and then being bounced immediately in the postseason. The White Sox, this is definitely their time to do it. They got a legit closer in Liam Hendricks from the Oakland Athletics in free agency. The young talent pool is there. Tim Anderson, Jose Abreu is not really young, but he is definitely one of the best hitters in Major League Baseball right now, an AL MVP from last season as well. So going forward, this is a legit contending team. The rotation is solid. They shorted the bullpen, but that's going to be a storyline to watch going into spring training. Is this going to mesh with Tony La Russa and his old school ways of managing teams? The New York Mets got a new owner in Steve Cohen, but are these the same old New York Mets, or is this going to be a different franchise going forward? Remains to be seen, but the rotation is solid. You have NL Cy Young winner and perennial contender for that award every single year in Jacob deGrom. Noah Syndergaard will be coming back at some point this year after having Tommy John surgery, missing all of last season, even though it was shortened to 60 games, but he still missed it regardless because of surgery. That was before all that went down. But the big transaction in the offseason for the Mets was Francisco Lindor, shortstop from the Cleveland Indians. They got him in a trade, and that will definitely bring the star power that the owner of the Mets wanted to bring to this franchise. Will it work in the long run with a guy like Pete Alonso and a few others that are kind of in the mix? Michael Conforto, another good outfielder for them. Remains to be seen, but spring training is where this all is going to play out. And on paper right now, the Mets are definitely in that wild card contention. Are they better than the Braves? Remains to be seen. If the Braves are fully healthy, they got a deep pitching staff as well, a solid lineup that can match up with any team in baseball. But it's going to be interesting to watch and see how the Mets play this stuff out, because the owner is demanding. He wants to win, and that's what you like to see out of your owner, especially in a sport like Major League Baseball. But are these still the same old Mets? We'll see. And the final spring training storyline I've got for you going into 2021 is, will it be the Padres or will it be the Dodgers? Who's going to come out on top of the NL West? Obviously, these two had a budding rivalry last season in 60 games, but looking at this going forward and the way that the language is going, especially with a guy like Justin Turner saying that they're going to be playing 19 World Series games amongst each other during the regular season. Justin Turner coming back recently on a 2-year extension with the LA Dodgers. And also the Dodgers were reacting to what the Padres did in the offseason when they traded for Blake Snell and they traded for Yu Darvish to shore up the rotation to go with the great lineup that they already got. The Dodgers reacted and they signed Trevor Bauer, the NL Cy Young winner from last season, from the Cincinnati Reds, giving him $40 million per season with opt-outs as well in a large contract that he got. So that was a reaction for the Dodgers to what the Padres were doing, and the Dodgers know they're being threatened. So going forward, this is going to be interesting to watch. Everybody's already assuming one of these two is going to win the World Series. Hold your horses there. Let's take a step back and see what else is going to play out going into spring training for the next couple weeks with some games, possible injuries, possible guys coming back, and seeing how they're going to adjust to a full MLB season. But hold your horses on crowning one of these two teams to be World Series champions. And I say again, bookmark westthesportsguy.com for those MLB previews of every single team in Major League Baseball for the 2021 season. That'll be coming down the pipe here shortly. I can't stress it enough, bookmark westthesportsguy.com. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell below to get notified when all the latest videos are posted here on YouTube, BitChute, and Rumble. You can get those links to those subscription channels at westthesportsguy.com. All the social media links are there for you as well. And I will see you next time.